Hi everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to our very second webinar series hosted by the activation group called Marketing Tagaway. I'm Edmond Lee, your BD of the activation group, and it's my pleasure to be your MC for today. So now, on behalf of the activation group, I'd really like to thank all of you for joining us here today. And our topic, it's all about relationship marketing, the art of consumer strategy. And you know what? I'm extremely humbled to have industry experts who are actually the leaders in their own field as our valued panel of speakers. So speaking of panelists, so without further ado, let's invite them in and introduce themselves. So guys, let's turn on your screens and come and say hi. So first up, we've got Vickson from Exabyte.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vickson from Exabytes. Yeah, and Exabytes group of company backed by 19 years of solid experience. Exabytes powered by 14K of the worldwide customers, and our product range of the services is including like a online web presence, digital marketing, website creation, and also business startup solutions like VPS, hosting, domain name, and so on. Thank you.
Interesting. Thanks, Vickson. Next up, we've got Shawn from the Edge. Shawn, come online, say hi.
Hi everybody, my name is Shawn. I'm representing Edge as the head of communications. Edge is the youth entrepreneurship wing of ACE, also known as the Action Community for Entrepreneurship. So our mission is to foster a more cohesive and collaborative youth entrepreneurship scene in Singapore. As the head of communications, I lead our activities in building a brand and marketing outreach. Nice to meet everybody.
Awesome, Shawn. That's really interesting. Up next, we've got Anna from Salesforce.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Anna. I'm a consultant at Salesforce, which is the #1 CRM company right now. Essentially, my role is to help SMBs in the ASEAN region, leverage our tools to help connect with their customers across many different digital touch points. And yeah, leverage their data to keep growing. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna. And last but not least, we've got Prarthana from Pikkal Co. Prarthana.
Thanks, Edmund. Thanks for having me. So I am heading the business development and key accounts at Pikkal Co. We are a specialized B2B podcast agency and a webinar agency. We work with leading brands in Asia to create their brand original B2B podcast. And in over last 2 years, we have produced over 850 podcast episodes. And my role there is to just help brand leaders achieve their business objective through the power of conversations.
All right, that's great, man. Looks like we've got a whole lineup of veterans and even webinar experts in this whole panel here. So I tell you what, let's just dive right into the panel of discussions. Now, to all the audiences, we will also open up a time for Q&A after each discussion. So please feel free, don't be shy, type in your questions through the Q&A box that you see down there. So let's just dive right in. Our first topic to kick off, in our current situation where much is taken online, how can online marketing, like for instance social media, be used to build consumer relationships, or is it just a transactional medium to acquire new customers in the short run? Now, who'd like to go first? Prarthana, since you're already here.
Okay, great. So definitely, let me kick it off. So in the old world, how online was being used was just to augment the offline events, right? That, hey, don't forget to tag us on Twitter, or hey, don't forget to, post this and use this hashtag and all. So that is how online was using. Now, obviously, because of the whole pandemic situation and COVID-19, everything has been expedited. So offline marketing is dead. Right, especially in the B2B space, offline events are no longer an option, especially for the next 6 to 7 months at least. We are, I would say, all very comfortable with online now. It's great to see how audience are taking online, they're welcoming online really very with open hands. Now, unless we adapt to this, we won't be able to build businesses and everything will be crushed, right? So even if you see online marketing, like this webinar is a form of online marketing, right? But it would be a bit of an issue if we are just considering social media online marketing. So we have to see how, we have to define what online marketing really is now. Online marketing is social media it's podcast, it's webinars, it's conversations that we are having, you know, on day-to-day basis. So how do we bring all these together? Social media is great for attention, it's great for awareness, I would say that, but long-term relationship and those you know, intimate conversations, that needs to happen in any other forms. And that's why I think we are all here for a webinar as well, right? So that's how I take you know, online marketing as. It's an ever evolving industry, it's an ever evolving, I think we all businesses need to evolve with it as well.
Yes, excellent insight. I totally agree with that, ever evolving. Anna, what's your take on that, on the first topic?
Well, I love that Prarthana mentioned that offline marketing is a little dead. I would say that it's not just dead, but even when it was alive, it was very hard to get into. And with social media, digital marketing, the barrier to entry is a lot lower. And so, you know, anyone could buy a Facebook ad or Instagram ad, but that's also a
Yep.
difficulty because I think we're all guilty of seeing an ad pop up and it makes you watch a 5 second video at least, and you just look away for those 5 seconds until you can come back and click the skip ad button. So it's really hard to get our audience's attention through digital. But I think you mentioned that you know, is it transactional? And I think because it is social media, it is anything but transactional. If you approached it as a transaction, you're probably not going to get much success. I think it's a great chance for you to engage with your customer, really learn about them. You know, a lot of, because it's digital, you have data. And so you can see what content resonates, what values they derive from your products. And then you can create communities where people can interact with each other and just giving them that sense of belonging, that sense of loyalty to your brand. In the end, in the long run, lets them kind of be your ambassadors and champions on the ground as well. So anything but transactional.
Yep, absolutely, totally agree. But then again, don't you think with online, then there's a lot of noise and traffic out there, and how do you filter out all this and actually reach your target audience? Sean, what's your take on this?
I think in terms of filtering out noise, it's really important to understand your target audience. What's really cool about going online is you're able to segment, you're able to reach a very specific target audience. So I think it's really important you build a holistic customer or target, a really targeted experience. That's going to be a huge differentiator, and I think that's where certain brands have done it really well.
Yep, absolutely. And I think Vickson, you've got experience in this field as well, right? Let's hear your view.
Yeah, definitely. From Exabytes point of view, right, and definitely we run through by using social media to have our online event. So currently, what we are seeing right now is social media is not just for the just promotions type of the post. So there's totally no engagement at all. So probably we turn the way that we are having a live type of the event that to engage the same interest of the users to come and listen to us. Then from there, we are actually engaged with those people, the same interest of people that we are keen to target with. Then from there, we generate out the data and we have that into our, our own kind of a target audience.
Yeah, that's great, right? So, you know, guys, my take on this is that whilst digital marketing or online marketing is rather broad, and then we've got a lot of specific tools to then filter out the noise and the traffic. But I think what makes it great right now is that having that that it should, you know, online marketing or digital marketing, whether it's social media or podcast, it should never be treated as a short-term tool just to acquire customers, right? I mean, that would be detrimental for any brands or businesses per se, because I mean, you can use it as a promo just to, you know, as a gimmick to try and acquire a new client or a new consumer. But then that's just a one-off thing and just a gimmick. But you still need a long-term strategy to build relationships for retention. So like I always like to say that it's very easy to acquire new customers, but retaining them is a different story altogether, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, to retain is to build relationship, and customer relationships are what drives businesses. And if these suffer, business will suffer. Hence, relationship building is a more long-term retention strategy, and it helps business grow a long way. And you know, if businesses look after their customers today, online or offline, then they will stay loyal for life. And when you're able to retain, I think acquisition comes really easily, right? And especially in today's world, digital marketing itself plays a real vital role in maintaining and improving customer relationship. Now, a lot of people always ask me how and why, because it's very simple. Because number one, you get to communicate directly and personally, right? I mean, that's exactly what we are doing right now, especially even on Twitter, on Facebook. You speak directly to your target audience or your target market, and you can personalize that message, and that helps build trust in your brand. And secondly, I always feel that maintaining that two-way conversation, I call it consumer dialogue. When you engage with them, listen to them, allow them to share and give their views, then this provides valuable information and it helps with their brand experience. Don't you think so? Prarthana, what's your take?
Yeah, Edmund, I completely believe with what you're saying. I in fact think that, retention is the new acquisition.
Exactly.
So especially all the businesses right now who have been having like great clients, even if you keep on serving them, you'll get through this time, especially if you're talking about this crisis, right? So definitely retention is a new acquisition, but at the same time, retention clients don't want you for just for relationship building purposes. They don't want to see the social media messages all the time or EDMs all the time, right? You really need to create the content that speaks to them, that speaks to their pain points. So that is where I think everyone here mentioned about data. That's where data comes in play. Data helps you identify the pain point of the customers and clients so that you can tweak your content accordingly. Now, whichever medium you're using, whether you start with social media, you go into webinars, podcasts, or whatever it is, it needs to add value. Otherwise, it is just noise. And even Anna said, right, like there are so many social media posts out there
Yeah.
and so many webinars out there as well, right?
Oh
But
yes,
how do you
exactly.
differentiate yourself from each other? So that is very important. And content is really important here.
Content is key and content is king, right? Anna, what's your take
Exactly.
on this when it comes to
Well,
content?
yeah, I mean, we're saturated with content. I know I have at least 10 different apps on my phone that gives me all different kinds of content. But I think one of the things you said earlier about being able to understand your customers is really important. And timeliness of the content as well is an additional layer. I think one of the things I've, learned over the years is that with every product, with every company, we're going to have very, very different customer journeys. And it does take some time to map all of that out. But once you really understand your customer across their entire journey with you, you're able to target each step of the way, addressing their concerns. It makes them feel safer with you, more comfortable with you, and at the end of the day, they'll always pick the brand that they feel engages with them best, is a trustworthy kind of almost a friend, right? And if we're talking about social media, you don't connect with your boss or your director on social
Yep.
media. You're connecting with your friends, your family, and you want brands to connect with you on that level as well if they're going to invade your personal space.
Yes, absolutely. So I think one of that what you pointed out was engaging with your friends. So if you take your target audience or your consumers as a friend, and then you craft that personal message directly to them, I think that adds a lot more value in that sense. And understanding them, knowing what they like, what they want, what their passions are, that's key, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, yeah, and at this point also, when we talk about content, I'd like to point out, when it comes to content and customer retention and piquing their interest, I think sports marketing and sports marketers, they do it best, especially when it comes to content. Now, I like to dive in on this little case study. Well, I'm a big football fan, so I want to talk about Real Madrid. During the lockdown in March, right? What now, a lot of football fans then, when they, oh no, I can't watch football anymore. There's no more football. I can see Shawn, grinning on there. He's probably a football fan and he probably plays football. Yeah, so I was one of them. And we can't watch football anymore. No, what's going to happen to our big superstars, our players? Now, one thing about Real Madrid, what they did was this was really awesome. The La Liga challenge, right? they took this opportunity to work with their partners. So they had this, the La Liga Santander Corona Esports Challenge. I'm sure you've heard of that, right? You being an esports person, right? So this was like conceived over a very short period of time. And they took all their players, all that 18 to 20 clubs online, and they played among each other, right? And this really created the big buzz. And then fans, even non-football fans for that matter, started going online just to watch. And I think this really helped maintain that so-called relationship between the football club and their fans, and they could still watch their favorite players in action, well, not physically, but on esports. And then at the same time on Twitch, you could watch all their past performances and their footages. And I thought that was great, right? So I think, yeah, content is king, right? Shawn looks like he's eager to say something about football. Shawn, go ahead.
I think it's really interesting. Like I didn't hear about I didn't actually watch any of the content until recently when I came up in an article, and it's just so incredible, the topic on content and engagement. Because from what I understand, like on average, every minute they had like 120,000 viewers,
Yes.
which is pretty damn amazing.
Correct. Yep.
So quite unfortunately, I wasn't as lucky or as engaged as you. I only got to know about it recently.
Yeah, and even British football, for that matter, they also took their challenge online as well. They started engaging with a lot of their fans online. Even the clubs turned to social media as not so much of a broadcast channel anymore, but a channel where the football celebrities themselves had to engage with a one-to-one communication with their fans. And I thought that was great, you see, because whilst it's very difficult to even catch your football superstar in action, for that matter. And then now you have them actually online speaking to you one-on-one, just like how we are. So I thought that was really great, right? Yep, okay. So now let's just recap here a little bit. Now, so what I feel that there's, for brands to be able to build that relationship and to maintain or talk about retention, there's always got to be that constant communication channel, almost instantaneous if possible. But then again, we need to be prepared to how to deal with the bad as well as good comments that they may have for you. So whether it's a social media, whether it's a Twitter feed, make sure that, imagine if you were to get a bad post, then just make sure that you always respond to it immediately. The faster, the better, because if you leave it, the longer you leave it, the worse it looks, right? It shows that you don't care at all. So yeah, and on that note,
you'll be like a snowball. You'll
exactly,
be like a snowball.
Exactly, it's going to snowball. So we like to tell our clients that we always suggest allocating a specific person or a specific ambassador that actually monitors these conversations, right? Even acting as your own brand ambassador for that matter, and speaking to them directly live, right? And this we will touch about it later on. In fact, at the activation group, we've actually got this new software or platform, as Shawn says it, platform where we actually, it's a new software and platform where we actually have live e-concierge. So we call it Engage, but this is a teaser. So I'll tell you all more about it later on, and as well as we'll feature it in our next webinar as well. So let's take a little question from the audience. Let's see what question we have right now. Okay, this question is from Joey. Do you think email marketing is dead in 2020, seeing as consumers, especially younger ones, are moving away from email as their primary communication platform in favor of social media messaging apps? So who'd like to take this answer?
I'd love to jump in real quick here.
I knew you would, Anna.
No, messaging and social media apps, right? Like, no, I think what caught me here was that we're talking about not just social media, but also messaging apps.
Yeah.
And we've dropped names like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook so far, but I think we have not really touched on things like Telegram or even WhatsApp, which has, I think, risen and I think your co-organizers, DIFY, would be very familiar with this whole online marketing, community building through Telegram. And now brands have come up with channels, group chats where they can share updates, answer questions, and even let the customers interact with each other on these platforms. I feel like if we're talking about, where should brands start having a presence, I would really encourage them to start, creating these two-way communication channels. But perhaps there's still space for email marketing, especially when it's more important updates. We have a lot of concerns now about data security, breaches, and those kind of things get lost very easily in communication that's too rapid. You want something more solid, black and white. So I think there's still space for both. Makes our job harder, of course, as marketers, because you have more channels to manage, but unfortunately, it's the way humans are going these days.
Basically, email marketing is nowadays they've been treated as those kind of like officials or important emails that they have purchased something. They wish to get someone to confirm with the official email. It is something like to replace our physical letter. So that will be gonna be the trend. But if you use email marketing as the spam mail to spam everyone with the email marketing, definitely from nowadays it's not working anymore. Where actually to be honest, account managers for me is currently a very, very good way to actually engage and retain your customers. Try to go and call, even WhatsApp them to understand further what they need and what is the challenge that they face currently to retain and to manage, to build a relationship in between customers. We did actually to turn it on towards our customers, and they are quite surprised because since N years ago, you never called me about this, but suddenly you call me and understand me further. And I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite surprised with that. I'm happy to share you my feedback. And I would love to see your solutions then come back to me. So what I would say is we are slapping ourselves to make them to trigger questions to us, but actually they're happy with that because we are ready to serve them. Yep.
Yeah.
To add to Vickson's point, I think, all of us are craving for connection now. So as much as conversations we can have, that's better, right? So email marketing, depending on whether we're talking about B2B space or B2C space, accordingly, the email marketing has been evolving. So definitely B2B, I still see EDMs rolling out a lot, and a huge, a huge great response coming from the EDMs that, not the EDMs that we just send it out for to our clients, but also the clients that they send it for webinars or podcast for that matter. But for B2C, there has to be multiple touch points, as Anna said, right? It will be a bit difficult, but till the time we have multiple touch points to get awareness and to get people's attention, and that leading into a conversation, one funnel down, I think then it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But for attention, definitely we need multiple touch points there.
Yes, awesome. I totally agree with that. Well, guys, quick one. Quick check, time check now is 4:28. We actually have time to, let's take on one more question before we move on to the next topic. Now, we've got this question from Lila Swan. Lila, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. So Lila says now, which do you find is the best or preferred channel to engage and understand customers' needs and troubles? Shawn, would you like to take this?
Sure, happy to. Hi, Laila. So I think if we look at it from a different perspective, it's not about selecting what you think is best for the customer, but actually understanding where your customers are spending their time or how they would like to be engaged. So like a simple way to do that would actually just to ask them. And if let's say they are like, I'd love to be communicated via WhatsApp or via an email channel, you quite quickly are able to engage them in the best possible manner. I don't think there is a one preferred channel. There are many different preferences, but it's about creating that experience and engagement within the primary channel. So you can identify one primary channel. Let's say it could be WhatsApp, and your secondary channel could be Facebook Messenger and email. So you got to do what's best and what works for your customers.
Yep, absolutely agree with that. I totally agree with that. So guys, what say you? We move on to the next topic, shall we? So the next one says here, what are some online marketing tools or strategies that we can use to acquire customers while maintaining the same level of personal touch when comparing to offline efforts? Vickson, what's your take on this?
Okay, for the online marketing tools that I was thinking of is actually still in email marketing. Email marketing is not towards a spam, that what I mentioned just now, is towards to update, to say hi to customers, but to share tips as well. So basically email marketing, if you're sharing tips, they won't be rejected because you're still having something that helpful towards the audience and the customers. So of course, WhatsApp is one of it that just now I mentioned. As account managers, probably we will use WhatsApp to say hi, to check with them, hey, how is the situation currently? And I know that you have the services we have. So what can I help you to move on to next during this kind of a situation, pandemic situations? What we can do to help to digitalize your business. So probably we will use this kind of a good way that to help them. And also we will actually use a very good way, like even updates them. Your purchase currently is like almost due, and you are not utilizing these services to improve your online business. So what we will suggest you to do next is this and that. So probably this won't be rejected. Instead of you call them and you follow up with them and say, hey, hi, today I have a promotion on this kind of product. So do you wish to get one? So probably this will be rejected, like you're selling insurance to any one of your prospects. It's like totally not make sense at all. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So on that note, right, you were talking about email marketing and spamming. Now, how then do you make sure that your email is directed and personalized and it's not actually a spam? How do you control that?
We need to segment. At first, we need to segmentize your audience. You need to understand who are the audience, who are the clients. So from there, you can understand them and segmentize and tag them. You tag them, okay, these customers is actually engage with us with these services and that services. So you don't actually go and duplicate and send the same kind of that not related tips or products or solutions towards the same customers that they will say, hey, I already have this. You keep sending me the same things again and again. So what's the point that you keep on spamming me? So basically we will filter it up and send over this kind of important tips. So for example, those customers that already having a domain name only with Exabytes, and we will send them some kind of solution that you can plug with website design to your domain name. Instead of you leave it out there, and in terms of that, next year it will be churned. Your domain name will be taken by others, probably, if you don't do anything on that. So we won't send again, hey, I have this domain promotion again. Hey, I have already domain, but you keep on sending me a domain name. So what's for? So that's a way that how we make sure we send the right content and emails to our customers.
Okay, interesting.
Yep.
Let's also hear from Shawn about his view and his take on topic 2. Shawn, are you there? Okay, we seem to have. I think
Yeah,
I got cut off just now.
Okay,
Welcome back.
Yep. So I think in terms of online marketing tools, I really want to draw reference on some of the things that the panelists have said. Very traditionally, like what Prarthana said, when it comes to online engagements, it tends to be very superficial. You don't get that depth of personal touch. And I really like what you said, Edmond, about that customer dialogue. And to tap on Anna's point on understanding the different engagement points of the customer journey. So if you look at it holistically, you really need to plan out everything, plan out what are the engagement points that create the best value at that point of time. So if we look at tools or strategies, what I've seen that is a really interesting trend is that Facebook Live thing where they do bidding for clothes, handbags, even durians and like livestock like fish. Completely weird, but it works for their customers.
Yes.
Their customers find it super engaging, super fun, and they actually rack up a lot of sales from it. So, I think there has to be a fair bit of experimentation in finding out what engages your clients. You still can stick to more traditional channels like your Facebook or email outreach, but you need to understand that these tend to be more superficial. And different customers they respond to different strategies and tools depending on what they need at that point of time. So it's going to be a constant refinement and understanding that it's not a silver bullet.
Yep, totally agreed on that. Let's hear from Prarthana. She looks like she was about to say something to add on.
Yeah, I think the kind of trend that I've seen, especially a bit after, everything has gone online, is that a lot of people are investing in long form content and they are going into channels which are able to support that. The reason is because while social media is still good for engagement, giving updates and email marketing. As you know, as Vickson said, it's great for giving updates and even having that personal touch. But where do you actually? I think it's important to see where do you actually influence a decision that a customer is making. Where does that trigger happen? I think it's very important to understand in your marketing funnel where is that happening. In recent times, we have been seeing that the campaigns that we work with and the brands that we work with, that trigger has been happening a lot with long form content. So any marketing channels or any communications channel for that matter, where people can engage with you and listen to you for a longer time, I think that's where they feel more connected as compared to, social media for that matter. So s- I wouldn't favor Facebook, LinkedIn, or any particular channel in that sense, but I just feel that that part, that influence part in the funnel, it's very important to understand where is that happening for your customers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So it's also how you funnel that channeling, and it cannot
Exactly.
be each channel cannot be seen as silo. They have to work together, regardless
Exactly.
whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
Hmm.
right? They've got to you got to tell the same message. It's just how you craft that message, and and more often than not, I always like to tell my clients or the peers out there, what is that one message you always like to tell the client, right? What is that one message you want to tell your audience? Don't bombard them with too much messages, correct? So in that sense, content is key, content is king again. Now, I wanted to talk also a little bit about embracing user-generated content. What's your take on that?
So in regards to user generated content, obviously GoPro did a great job with that. That was one of the most famous campaigns, I would say. The beauty of that is people resonate with that a lot.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
and coming back to the whole concept of brand ambassadors, people buy from people and not from brands. So, the more brand ambassadors, the more people you can get on board, the more user generated content. I think that is the way to go ahead in terms of acquisition and influence also moving forward. So because we resonate with other users, right? We understand that, okay, if they were going through this problem, hey, I was also going through the same problem, maybe I should try it out. So that maybe I should try it out, I think it seems like a very simple statement, but actually that sits in the head for a really long time. So user generated content as much as possible, rather than, customer, listen to our customer story and then, videos created around that. And this was my life before this, and then this is my life now. So as compared to that, I think user generated content plays a huge role.
Yes, definitely. I totally agree with that. Which is why I want to talk a little bit about user generated content and how it actually influences purchase decisions, right? Because uh, user generated content is as simple as uh, you telling your consumers that they are part of this important conversation that you're having with them. They are part of this important consumer dialogue that you're having with them. Remember, I always talk about this two-way communication channel and always constantly maintaining that two-way communication channel. And having UGC is one way of, in a way, respecting them, understanding them, and in that way, it actually promotes authenticity, right? And because if you look at the numbers, actually, consumers are two and a half times more likely to view UCG as an authentic content compared to what brands actually create themselves, right? And at the same time, it also creates trust in your brand because whether it's a product, a service, or an experience, now modern consumers today, they actually want to know what they're getting even before they purchase. Am I right to say that? Yeah, right? And
It's as simple as no bullshit. Like people
exactly,
don't
right.
have time for any BS nowadays. So
Yeah,
just
exactly.
give us what you are actually going to give us, right?
Yeah, and you know, 30% of millennials, especially millennials, 30% of millennials wouldn't go to a restaurant today if the outlet's Instagram wasn't up to snuff. Can you believe that?
I
Yeah,
was
so
I just want to say I was actually at a restaurant last weekend and we were just have ordering food and someone at the table made this comment like, guys, I don't even know why we're eating here. They don't even have a Facebook page. They don't have reviews, but apparently it's really good.
yeah, there you go. So I think that is rather important. So in that sense, uh, just to answer that topic too, also, there are a lot of other strategies out there, like for instance, strategy and tools like creating personalization, maybe even real-time rewards, especially for those who have this geotagging, consumer tracking. Great customer service, especially, is one key thing that a lot of brands forget. Whether you're offline, whether you're online, whether it comes to acquisition or retention, or whether it's a long-term strategy, customer service is something that's really key. And
Yep.
yeah, uh, Vickson, you're about to say something
And
about.
and another good point is that we always miss out is listen to customers. So always we need to have some kind of like NPS or CES kind of score towards our customers. We need to understand from them. We need to take feedback from them, and even our online order flow, we need to get feedback from them, and we improve from there. Because we have totally no ideas when customer didn't tell us that is our products order flow or is our product services is up to that level or not. So if you are not listening to your customer, you keep on doing what you have in mind. So probably you'll be pissed off by the rest of the customers because you are not listening to them and you are not doing the things that up to that market level. Yep. So what I'm suggesting here is an NPS score and a CES score that you can apply on your websites, which is we are using right now is from Tricks, is one of the platform that quite doing well so far.
And the ideal situation here would be if we are able to uh, get customers involved in throughout the product development journey as well. A continuous, even if you are starting a new service, just creating an MVP of that, sharing it with the customer, get real-time feedback from them, and then make changes to it rather than giving them a full-fledged service that okay, this is what we offer. I think it has to be a partnership now. It has to
Yeah.
be something that we together need to work with customers to improve on, just to make sure that we are actually giving them the right product and not something that they never wanted in the first place.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I totally agree. I mean, I picked out two keywords that you just mentioned, like real time. I like that word, real time. I mean,
Yep.
customer service is all about real time. If you can provide
Yep.
them with real time information, real time rectification, or whether it's even real time rewards, that takes your brand a long way. That really takes your brand a long way. So I think overall, to sum up, it's basically don't just use online as just a mere tool for brand visibility, but it's more of using it as a tool to engage with your audience. So when we talk about brand presence, that you are present, you're really there, real time, and also that brand experience when that two-way communication happens, right? So in that sense, I always like to tell clients that to use it as an authentic, transparent, two-way face-to-face communication channel if possible. Now I know a lot of people then will say, how is that going to be possible when it's face-to-face, when you're talking to like thousands and thousands of audiences out there. Actually, it is possible, right? And one of it is more often than not having that so-called chatbot. Chatbot sometimes may be useful, may not be useful, but I just wanted to add on a little bit here because going back to what I mentioned earlier, we've actually got this new platform developed by the Activation Group. It's called Engage, where we actually put an e-concierge, we call it an e-concierge, e-ambassador, just behind our screen. So it's like, imagine consumers talking to a brand and that brand actually has a face, your brand ambassador. And it's actually a one-to-one conversation. And of course, we then train them well enough that it actually has an in-depth communication as well. So in that sense, that makes it more meaningful, and that actually promotes trust and more brand loyalty in that sense.
Okay. Yep.
So guys, sorry, you wanted to add on something?
No, it's just occurred to me that from all our sharings, I think we can sum up that today's consumer is a little bit more spoiled, has a lot more expectations because it's social media, it's digital. They're expecting a return, they're expecting to contribute, which has done wonders. It's changed the way we do business, made, challenged companies to be more innovative, and it's great to hear people like Vickson understanding that they need to keep iterating based on the input of their customers. But I guess moving forward, we just have to keep in mind this higher expectation of always on, everywhere, all the time.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and actually, even during COVID-19, we are actually prepare more than hundreds of sanitizer sets and send out to our customers. So this is another surprise that we send over to our customers. They feel like warm because we are taking care of them. It's not just the services that we are providing, but also their life. So we are sending over a sanitizer, we are sending over the mask, because on that time it's quite sort of mask, and we have in a box and purchase, and then we send them for free. So it is one of the warm and concern that kind of way to cheer our customers. So yeah, you will feel appreciated on that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yep. So guys, quick check. Time now is 4:45. We're actually doing good timing on this. We've actually got 15 minutes more. So I'll tell you what, let's take a simple question from the audience and before we wrap up. Now, we've got this question from Paywan. Paywan, hello. What are some of the motivations and expectations behind loyalty schemes that businesses adopt to attract customers in the long run? Now, who'd like to take this? Shawn, did we lose you there? Shawn, you want to take a go on this?
Yeah, sure. I guess in terms of loyalty schemes, it started out as quite traditional, like for example, earning points using your airlines in order to boost up your customer retention. I think the main idea behind that is understanding that acquiring a customer is about 70% more expensive than retaining your customer. So businesses have found now more innovative ways of using loyalty schemes. It's no longer just earning points through purchases. I think what's really interesting is integrating the loyalty experience. For example, I think Shopback is an awesome company, right? They help to create stickiness within certain brands and certain shops because you get a direct real-time cashback when you shop for things. So I think increasingly we will see more and more creative ways in which companies use to retain their customers. And it's going to be a multi-pronged experience because not everybody enjoys the same thing or things could get stale. So I really like what Anna said that, businesses need to continue to be innovative. They need to always refine and try out different things, listen to what their customers are saying. I think that will really create a meaningful customer experience.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much, Shawn. Anna, you wanted to add on something to...
I'm not sure, the motivation behind this question. It sounds like it's always positive, but I personally have a bit more of a cynical view to it. I think sometimes businesses adopt loyalty schemes because it's what we're used to. As Shawn said, it's like the traditional way. And sometimes the expectation is that customers will just naturally purchase more because there's this loyalty reward system. But what I've realized is that if you don't have compelling rewards or no compelling reason to join this new community, that I derive no value from it other than simple discounts. I'm better off purchasing from someone else, going back to someone else that has a stronger emotional connection with me. So I feel like for a lot of startups and SMBs that I've worked with, they've always pushed to do loyalty schemes, but I'd always like to take a step back and ask them to consider could you explore existing partner platforms? Like a lot of people are on Grab now. Let's not talk about the contention behind the Grab business model, but the idea is that there are other people with captive markets already. Is it really worth your investment to set up a whole loyalty system, develop an app, a portal, because your customers may already be heavily invested in a marketplace that just does the better thing, Lasmol or something.
Yeah, yeah. So on that note, right, when it comes to loyalty programs, not that I wanted to mention brands, but have you all come across any, because for me, I always felt that loyalty programs in the airline industry, they do a real good job. But then I guess they're all suffering right now because of COVID. You can't travel. So all your loyalty programs are like just, put on hold. But in that sense, have you all actually come across some really, really, like what you say, compelling loyalty programs that really touch on retention for that matter?
As a marketer, I would like to say that I try not to fall victim to certain promotions, but I did fall really hard for the Red Mart one. They had a promotion where they had 5 discount codes, and you get more off per order, but for each order that you kind of come up with, the total cart value increases. And I think what was very smart there was, number one, they've hooked you because there's a discount, but number two, they've understood, habit forming, because you could not redeem the next coupon until you've made that first order. And then you're just you keep doing it, and by the 3rd or 4th coupon, you're like, oh, I understand the value of Red Mart. And this was honestly the first time I've ordered Red Mart in the how many years they've been in Singapore, because I kind of got stuck in it now. So now half my groceries are from Red Mart. Like, I've fallen victim, but I think it was a very good combination of purchasing decision, habit forming, and that convenience as well as a product.
Yeah, for me, I've strange that you've mentioned Redmart as well. Now on that platform or e-commerce platform itself, not just Redmart, but I've always thought that things like campaigns, especially like for instance your Black Friday and your Black Monday, don't you think that's one really evil form of a loyalty scheme that just catches you and you just got that compelling reason that I just gotta buy? Don't you think so?
Yeah, I love that we've evolved from Black Friday to 11/11 to 12/12, and now every month there's a 1/1 2 2 3 3 4 4, and I fall victim
Yeah, a
every
lot.
time.
Yeah, it's keep on having that kind of promotions all the while.
It's like
Exactly.
It's a
that
repeating everything. Yeah.
month you decide to buy everything that's there on the list. You spend the rest 29 days planning what to buy the next month. That's what happens.
Exactly. So don't you think that it was just a campaign that has become a revolution or revolutionized loyalty program that people just follow or look out for it, right?
Yeah, I think Singapore is a great example. We've got the Great Singapore Sale every year, right? And all right, maybe this year is slightly dampened, but I do know, I mean, coming from the Philippines, there are people from the Philippines flying to Singapore every June to participate in the sale. That's insane.
Yeah, of course. So, okay, guys, a quick time check now. We've only got about slightly less than 10 minutes. So, before we wrap up here, I think, well, Shawn, I think, is having some internet issues, so I don't think he'll be able to dial in. Thanks a lot, Shawn. So, anyways, I just wanted to sort of like wrap up. So, on behalf of the activation group, I'd really like to take this opportunity to thank all our audiences, our panelists, and Shawn is not back here now, but Shawn, thank you so much. Your sharing is really, really great, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you. Vickson, thank you so much. Anna, you were really great. Prarthana, you had some really great insights.
Thanks,
you know,
Edmond.
yeah, and thank you so much. To have given us your time and your insights today. It's really indeed to have a treat, to listen to you guys. It was really a great pleasure having you. So for the rest of the audiences, just a very teaser for everyone out there. Do look out for details on our next webinar. We've got something really, really exciting going on. Just a quick teaser, like I said. Now you're going to see the next batch of panelists. We're actually going to be sitting in a 3D virtual setting. Yep, that's right, a whole 3D virtual setting. And that's actually a new service or a new platform the activation group has actually developed or created, and we're really, really excited, and we really want to showcase that in our next webinar. And we'll also be featuring, like what I said, our Engage platform, where it's an e-concierge service. So it's a new software developed by the activation group. So look out for the invites to our next webinar. And also one more thing, guys. I would like to inform you that the activation group is actually offering a free brand consultation session for anyone who needs help with their branding and marketing services. It actually consists of a brand understanding and a data clinic session. So you're probably wondering, how do you opt in? Well, it's actually quite simple. All you need to do is just indicate in the poll that is popping up right now, there you go, in your screen, and then you just indicate your interest to get a free consultation, a free brand consultation services done up for your company. So we'll get our representative from the activation group to get in touch with you. So in the meantime, for the rest of the attendees, I'd really, it'll be appreciated if all of you could help us, assist us to fill up your survey form once you leave this webinar. You'll be redirected to a survey on one of the browsers once you leave this webinar. So has everyone filled up the brand consultation form? Come on, guys, don't be shy, fill it in. All right, so that brings us to the end of our session today. Thank you so much. Now, once again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. We look forward to seeing everyone in our next webinar series. So do stay tuned for look out on our Facebook, our LinkedIn pages for more information. And that's all for today. And this is Edmond from the Activation Group signing out now. Bye, everyone. Stay alert.
Bye,
Stay
everyone.
alive.
Thank you.
Bye.